Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Is it only Thursday?
It's only Thursday. We're very, very close to Friday, but we're not quite there yet.
I feel like I'm too bright. Hold on. I'm like, y'all don't need me glowing this much today.
There you go.
Okay, that's a little better. Thanks. I was prepping a little bit beforehand, so I didn't also prep the tone of my video.
To you. Yeah, I could have said something too, but that's okay.
I appreciate everybody tuning in. I am focused today on hosting for membership sites. If you don't know, Paid Memberships Pro is beginning to host membership sites for our customers. We've hosted our own membership sites ourselves for almost the entire time. I think very early on we were with WP Engine and quickly saw that managing our own servers would be the right path ongoing for us, not just from a cost perspective, but also in an ability to respond to and mitigate any issues we had. So that is the kind of, I'm not going to make this a big sales conversation today. I'm not going to try to win you over. I'm going to explain the actual facts of the hosting environment for WordPress. I'd love to hear where you are hosting currently, if you're happy with it, if you're struggling, why. In the comments, I love everyone saying hello and where you're from. It's awesome. And I will explain what our hosting is and what it's being designed to, who it's being designed to serve, and everything about that. So we don't have a specific plan other than to demo a few cool tools that we're using to migrate sites and just show what the migrated site looks like and answer any questions you have. So yeah, we have a few pre-submitted, but also Sam monitors this chat heavily while I'm here. Coffee, yes, Jerry.
Yes.
I have to explain my disgusting coffee. I came down to the office. I thought, I'll make a coffee before I go live. And the only type of coffee we had was pumpkin spice, which is not the kind that I prefer.
Don't hate.
I know. Sam likes pumpkin spice. Jason likes pumpkin spice. So I'm just, if you see my face like cringe when I take a sip, it's like, I know that I need this coffee, but I also don't like the taste of this coffee. So it was this or vanilla caramel cream, which I also wasn't interested
Oh, Graham is with you on the yuck of pumpkin spice.
Right. Graham, thank you. I don't know why. I like plain coffee mostly.
So before you get started real quick, I just want to call out, this is the first time I've seen viewers from Copenhagen and Austria. Those are like two new places that I have not seen people in the comments for. Cool. If you're coming back, thank you for sharing where you're from, because
yes,
that's really interesting. I do enjoy seeing how global our videos are. So.
And as the person that plans these, you also like to see their time zones, because we try to make these at a time that people can attend. It might be in the middle of your workday, which is a challenge if the membership site is a side project or an after hours project for you, something you're trying to ramp up, or an association you manage. So making space for to attend a daytime stream might not be easy. This might be nighttime. It might be very early for you, wherever it is. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
And it won't be long before I start planning for 2026.
Oh, yeah, right. Share screen. I didn't even share my screen yet. This is how prepared I am.
That's okay.
Okay. So I'm going to start by, I'll load our hosting landing page. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is unique about a membership site when it comes to hosting, and issues we've seen come up for people that are problems at the host level. Okay. So most websites you visit online, you're browsing information, you're going to websites that can relatively exist in a static format, and you don't necessarily log into everything. You're browsing information. Membership sites are different because you're logged in. Every member who logs into your site has a unique experience visiting your site and browsing it. Their menu might be unique to them. The content that's visible to them is unique. Their membership account page and all those kind of logged in areas. Maybe you see in the header of our site here, I have a welcome Kim Coleman. I'm logged into our main website here. So there's fractional parts of the site that have to be customized just for that logged in user's experience. So WordPress hosts in general are great at delivering sites to not logged in people, because once you get into the logged in space, there's a lot of issues with how resources have to be allocated to an individual site. The experience of being every visitor to the site having a unique experience means that it's like more expensive for them as a host to deliver unique experiences to all those people. So you'll often see with WordPress hosts, rather than dividing it up by the resources that the server itself delivers to your site, they're going to tell you this is for this many monthly users, this many concurrent visitors, you'll see. And they'll also measure it by like the total size of storage on your site. So those are ways that traditional WordPress hosts, WP Engine, we were talking about hosting.com just before this, SiteGround, even WordPress.com, how they create pricing tiers, right? They say like, this is how much usage we expect your site will get. And we think we can put your site among hundreds of others on the same server and allocate all these resources, and we'll probably be pretty good at delivering 10,000 unique visitors in a month to your site. And at that tier, maybe you're paying $30 a month, maybe you're paying less than that. Sometimes I know hosting.com has a pretty affordable plan, and the site that you're building has a low number of concurrent visitors and demands because it's a smaller association with maybe 200 members or so. Is that right?
Probably about 100 members, actually.
100 members,
right
yeah. So you know that it's going to be okay on that site because there's never going to be huge demands of visits at one time, right?
Yeah, so. And for the site that I'm building, it's very much so that they go in, they renew their membership or purchase their membership, and then they may or may not log in to see past newsletters because those will come to their email anyway. So they're really not going to be doing a whole lot of restricting content and having a bunch of, there's no courses, there's no community, nothing fancy. It's pretty cut and dry.
And that's like the next phase of things you get into where not only is one user experiencing something different, like maybe they're engaged in community conversations, maybe they're taking courses. So they also have their own content that they're generating and changing and interacting with the database, drawing a lot of resources off the server at any given time. So I kind of explained how traditional WordPress hosts price their plans and how they require you to bump between plans. They're like, okay, 10,000 visitors. Jason and I were having a conversation before this, and he was explaining to me that because of resources like Cloudflare, if that's part of your stack, and because of things like object caching and page caching, one visitor to your site who's not logged in costs the host almost nothing. So you could have 10,000 visitors and they could all visit a cached Cloudflare content delivery network hosted version of your site, and that costs your host nothing to do that. So they're not giving you 10,000 logged in user visits, they're giving you 10,000 total visits. But it's costing them nothing. So they're incentivized to kind of grow the number of visits your site gets and have a large number there, but to give you as little resources as possible on the server level. So there's a lot of technical pieces, and I don't know them very well. I'm going to throw words out that I don't want to feel like I'm insecurely sharing words that don't make sense. Me and Sam were joking beforehand, like, why am I the one delivering this? But if questions come up and I feel insecure about my ability to answer them, we have other people in the team, maybe in chat, or later we can get back to you with like the actual technical response that's correct. So in this case, this hosting is completely different. This is a droplet on DigitalOcean. It's your own server, basically, with specific server resources. So our base includes, I will say, right numbers. I believe it's 80 gigs. Okay. So the base plan is your dedicated server. It's a droplet on DigitalOcean. And if you don't know who DigitalOcean is, they're also the back end infrastructure of the WordPress host Cloudways. So Cloudways is their like retail consumer focused hosting version. So DigitalOcean is the background of things. So we're not aiming to become Cloudways, but in some ways we are a layer on top of DigitalOcean in the way that Cloudways is a layer on top of DigitalOcean. So what we are designing is hosting where it will be one DigitalOcean droplet, and the base plan for the $100 per month is an 80 gigabyte storage, 2 CPUs, and 4 gigs of RAM. And that is probably where most of the membership sites and where in our alpha, where most people have started. There are some that require larger resources, but we have a question I'll get to later about how does that scale. Because it is a DigitalOcean droplet just dedicated for you, your DigitalOcean droplet, it scales pretty beautifully because DigitalOcean allows us to add on not only storage packets to that base droplet, but also we can scale up CPU and Jason used a word called PHP workers, and I don't know what those are per se. He tried to explain it to me, as well as the RAM on the server. So each of these pieces, just like when you're shopping for a laptop, you've heard of the words CPUs, RAM, and you've heard of storage. So each of those can be scaled as your membership site demands increase. So that's kind of like, it's a different mindset than, so it's going to be difficult for you to compare this hosting apples to apples to a host that's talking about things in terms of page visits exclusively of users exclusively visiting your site. But that is what it is. We host our own site on this same setup, and we've hosted that way for, I think, 10 years on a droplet. In comparison, who you all know, Lifter LMS, that's a product we also are investors in and owners of. They host at Pagely. So the PMPro Hosting, base hosting for our website is $162 a month. And I can get the real numbers. We have over 150,000 users on our site. I think Sam can look up the analytics. I should have pulled it up in advance. But the number of like unique visitors we get in a month, I want to say it's like over 80,000. Is that right, Sam? Maybe I'm no, not like the active use. Yeah, maybe it's like 15,000. I don't know. So unique users according to Google, and then people are coming back. So that number isn't actually what the host is charging you for. They're not charging you for Kim who comes. Kim is not one person who comes back to your site 10 times in a month. Kim came to your site 10 times in a month. Kim hit that limit 10 times for you. So I guess we would want page visits, Sam, for the month. So we have a very high traffic website. We have a large number of members. We have lots of checkouts. We run all of our support through this site. We serve all of like your downloads, all of your account logins and things like that. It talks to a lot of external services. And, you know, we are marking up hosting obviously because of the human piece of things. So that $100 a month isn't the cost of the server of DigitalOcean. The $162 I'm telling you is the cost of what we pay for our server. So I don't know. I'm talking around in circles just to say that the way that hosts upsell and box things up isn't the way that we're going to do it. So we're going to be more transparent, and a word Jason's using called open hosting. So you know that you're paying this amount per month and you have this amount of dedicated resources to the performance of your site consistently. So do you have questions about that? I don't know. Go ahead.
If I'm looking at the right Google Analytics number, I could be wrong. I'm not a Google Analytics expert. It looks like within the last 30 days, we had 114,000 views to our site.
Okay. Yeah. So that in a traditional hosting environment, that would be that like number of visits in the site. So you won't find your site might not be that scale. It might be that scale, but we have a plan that'll fit any size membership site. And they can scale up and they can scale back too. Jason was saying to me earlier, like you want a server the size that it can accommodate, like your average traffic is eating up 10% of the server's resources so that it is ready and doesn't burn out when you have blips, because blips happen. Like you might see in your Google Analytics, you got like an anomaly of daily visitors, or you're randomly realized that a piece of content you wrote got picked up by a major news article. Your traditional WordPress host isn't prepared for that volume of hit at any one time. So when you're on a server that is day-to-day just accomplishing 10% of your site's needs, you have the ability for those exciting moments when you get tons of traffic that wasn't expected and nothing will happen at the server level. Cool. I feel good about that. Okay. Yeah, Jerry's putting a comment in about what actually the essentially it's hardware, the server, the cloud-based infrastructure. Yep. So yeah, DigitalOcean, and you can run this yourself. That's what's also really interesting and exciting about this. We're using the term open hosting, even though there is like someone who owns the domain open hosting. But what's open about it is the way that you get a DigitalOcean server, it's yours to tune and change. So just like you can install performance tools on your laptop to make it perform in different ways and tweak settings. Maybe you're a gamer and you tweak settings on your CPU clock, or change the temperature that you keep your CPUs cool to because you heavily game and it, burns your CPU. We do the same at the server level. So you can, we're going to be publishing content that explains exactly how the servers are configured, what additional like must-use plugins and supporting services we install on the servers, We're aiming to use all open source tools, so server monitoring tools that are open source, object caching that's open source, things that exist at the server level and exist to monitor the server through like a third-party tooling. That's all open source stuff. So we're calling it open hosting because while you can choose to onboard with us and pay us to host your site, to manage it, to support you, support your WordPress install, support your paid memberships pro, if at any time you realize, we want to bring this in-house, we want to manage this ourselves, DigitalOcean makes it very easy for us to transfer your droplet directly to you. So you can then become the person who manages it. From that point forward, you wouldn't have any of the additional improvements that we're making at the server level unless you kept them in sync with our content. But it makes it very transparent and easy. Hosting exists and is successful as a business model because it's so easy to tell people like they're kind of locked in, right? Like your host is not going to decide to like help you migrate. Often they'll say like, no, we don't do that. Good luck, right? In this case, if that comes to the point that you need to migrate, we can transfer that droplet directly to you. Or if you just want to follow along and build it yourself and manage your own DigitalOcean server from the get-go, that content and that model will be available and published. So that's a cool thing.
I think it's also important to note that, and you may have glossed over it a little bit, but with the way that we're doing it with the droplet, and everybody gets their own droplet, which is their own server, a lot of traditional hostings that you see have shared servers among a lot of different sites. And so that is one kind of premium bit of our hosting, is having that individual server for your site. You're not sharing servers.
Yeah. And traditional hosting is, they've designed it in secure ways. Like they don't want one site on the server to affect all of them. If malware happens over here, it affects all these sites, but it can happen. There can be leakage. But also those resources, that they're one server that has 100 WordPress sites on it. If this site over here is having that surge of traffic, all of the resources across the server are now impacted and limited because of the performance or the activity happening over here. So you're isolated from that event ever occurring. I don't think hosts are going to be transparent about that with you. You'll say, all of a sudden my site felt really slow. What happened on Thursday? And they'll say, oh, we were performing an upgrade. They're not going to say like, oh, we were sharing resources with this one site and abc.com got super amount of traffic. Isn't that cool for them? You're like, wait a minute, why is my hosting so related? Why is the performance of my hosting so related to abc.com? Like, I don't know them, so things that you avoid by going this route, the way we've designed it. It's definitely not the cheapest way to host sites. If we were looking to just like minimize costs and maximize revenue on this is not the approach we would take. But we're not a hosting company. We're a membership site platform. So we want to host these sites the way we host our own site, which is on a dedicated server. All of our sites have their own droplet. So yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute.
That's the background. This has been many years coming. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a really good question in the comments right now. Solomon wants to know, is this about hosting or Paid Memberships Pro?
Oh, do you want me to answer this?
Yeah.
So Paid Memberships Pro has been a WordPress membership plugin and has grown into such a large platform. I think we're in our 18th year. No, I'm in my 18th year. We're in our 15th year of running Paid Memberships Pro. And hosting is a new product that we're going to offer alongside Paid Memberships Pro. The hosting comes with Paid Memberships Pro plus level of membership and all the support and benefits that come with that. So it is both. We're only hosting Paid Memberships Pro sites. If you host with us, you have to be running Paid Memberships Pro. It's just an evolution of what was simply a plugin now becoming a platform. And in many ways, it's like paving the way toward how Paid Memberships Pro competes with hosted SaaS versions of membership sites. Cool. Okay. So this is, I'm going to show a demo site that I made for our Elementor open office hours many weeks ago, right? And it's just, this is like, imagine this was your WordPress membership site and you're like, I'm on board, Timeless Car Club, sign me up. I want to host with Paid Memberships Pro. I want to talk through like what will happen from that point forward and what we have to be concerned about when we migrate sites. So this is an active membership site. I think something got screwed up with the menu on this site. I don't know if I bet it's the Elementor caching. We probably never went in and like changed that.
I also cannot confirm, or did I, if I went in there and played with the demo site.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So this is on InstaWP, which is where we do all of our like rinse and repeat demos and quick throwaway things. So it's not a public site. It's a fictitious membership site. But it is a membership. There's a directory, there's users, you have orders coming in, you have payment settings set up, you have relationship to your payment gateway that is listening for new subscription payments, new failures of subscription payments. It's sending email. It's doing all these things. So we can't just shut it down. We can't just like turn off the membership site. Did I freeze? Because I feel like my internet is poor.
You did not freeze.
Okay. I can't get, maybe InstaWP is having problems. See? I can't get like into this site at all. I don't know if it's just me. Close that one. Why can't I get into this site?
Is InstaWP down? That would be unfortunate.
That would really make this no fun. Here, I'm trying to log in again. Okay. So people often ask us, like, how do I can't get in. Okay. I'll do it on a different site. It's okay.
It says all services are online.
It does? Come on. No. Can you get to this site, Sam? PMPro-hosting.instawp.co. No. I do have the migrated version of it, but I don't know if that's interesting to show. We did migrate this site in preparation for today.
It's trying. I went to InstaWP and I did the magic login and it's trying to.
Is all of the internet slow today? This one's also slow. Let me log in. Why is this slow? See, host yourself. You won't have slow sites.
So Christy has to leave in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to grab her question real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Christy wants to know how hard it would be to migrate from our site, which is on WordPress.com, to PMPro Hosting.
We are willing to, Christy, we know you. We can set up a trial for you and attempt the migration at no cost just to see how it goes. We haven't migrated a .com site, and I know that they put a lot of restrictions on things, but you probably won't be the hardest one we've migrated lately. So definitely let's try it. I'd like to try it and migrating it. If you're down, we can do that. That's what the value of being in our Slack community is, and having built relationships with us, we can give it a shot. I know we were actually on a team call earlier and Kim White asked if we had migrated a .com site, because in our support area, we're like notoriously aware of the restrictions that .com puts on their versions of WordPress and their hosting environments. So I would be curious to try it for sure.
Yeah, I built a membership site on WordPress.com and it was quite agonizing. And now I try not to do too much editing on it. It's kind of one of those, like, I try to set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And I let other people do the editing.
Yeah.
Kim, in regards to the InstaWP, I am now getting an internal server error. It says this is usually due to memory or timeout issue, or a plugin theme or custom PHP code is not working properly. It gives me a link to check.
I was on it like 10 minutes ago. We didn't change anything. All right. I'm not going to be able to get on that site. Anyway, that site was a demo site we created. And I'll just go through it in this local site. Let me move this stuff.
I wonder if I can get on any site. Let's see.
Yeah, right? Try another InstaWP site. All right. I'm going to just install this here. So you have an existing site. You have members and you have subscriptions and you have orders, and it's just a lot of data. So it is not an easy migration. It's not just take my 5-page brochureware website and put it on a different host, change the DNS, we're done, ta-da. You don't want your members to have to change their passwords. When people do like migrations that require importing, you can sometimes prevent the password reset, but you can't always prevent people from needing a password change. So what we want is a migration experience that feels like nothing changed and it's completely opaque, that it even is on a new server, except for the amazing speed that you're going to your members and you as the admin are going to experience. So I want to come back to that, Sam. Remind me to talk about the admin later.
Okay.
So totally transparent or opaque to anyone else visiting the site, knowing that the server was moved. So we have developed a migration tool that I'm going to just talk through because it's important for everyone watching who maybe you're doing your own migration or you just need to understand what are the components of a migration and what's, I was playing with this earlier, so I'll replace. Okay. So our team member Dale and our team member Yukesh have been working very hard on a migration tool so that we can get a backup of all the components of your site, understand the setup of your site, not only look at what's in the WordPress, but also what's in that whole root folder. Because I know with us, we put files like our downloadable PDFs. Sometimes we put those outside of the WordPress environment because they're like files we want to manage directly that way. So it's going to look at the entire file system of where the WordPress installation is and any other system folders within that installation. So there's a few steps to migration that the team has decided how they've decided to parse all the different things. And the way that we've designed migration, it will analyze the setup and give us kind of a report of things and raise any red flags where we say like, this needs special consideration. And we'll keep appending to that as we experience new migrations saying, this is something we have seen have issue before. Let's put a pause on this and let's double check things. So I'll just show you quickly what that looks like. This will be a tool that's currently going to be run as a white glove service by our team. So we will, after your checkout for hosting, we will get a login to your WordPress admin and we will run this migration. There's potential in the future. It's something that people can perform on their own or a tool that we might release just for people who want to create backups of their site. Because what's also cool is this isn't just a migration plugin, but it also can become a way to do your own backup systems for the unique files in your site, as well as the database, which is a separate piece of your WordPress site. So this piece creates what's called a site profile. And I'm going to pull it up for the developers who might be here and interested in all of this stuff. So let's pull that up here. So this site profile takes a look at your server setup, like what versions of WordPress, what version of MySQL is running, what if we have space to even run these things, the memory limits on your site. So based on your host, there might be memory limits. So we have to parse things in different ways when we run the experience. And then all the plugins installed. This serves as like the apples to apples test where we can take this site profile and then get a new site profile once it's migrated and make sure everything is a total match so that we didn't miss any plugins, that we didn't miss any configurations when we moved you over. So this is that first step of analysis of the site. And then it's going to do a backup of the files of your WordPress itself, all the WP content, things that exist outside of WordPress, like I said, uploads folder, the all of the plugins, all of the themes and theme customizations, any other must-use plugins that might be in your site, and perform that backup. And right now what it's doing is putting a temporary folder in your WP content folder of your server on your site. Nothing's been reported back to us yet. It's still locally storing those backups. So now those backup files are created. I'm trying to think how I can show you what that looks like without showing you my entire site. It is cool to see. I was hoping to do that in the InstaWP because I had I guess I could just share my whole screen for a second. I don't know. Maybe I could take a screenshot of it and then put the screenshot in the thing. Okay. I'll try that. Can't you just like load a screenshot in Google Chrome? Let's see. Okay. Does this work? Yeah. Okay. I took a screenshot of Finder. So this is my local site on my local laptop here, but imagine this was the folder system of your WordPress site at your current host. So we create a folder called PMPro-migrate, and within it, it has some JSON files, which are informational files, a log of what's been happening, and then the file system is that zip file. So that's all of the files that we need to slurp up and bring over to our host. It's possible there might be multiple if we chunk things up. If you have a very huge site or a or a host that's really low performance, we've had to break things up into parts. We had one site that we had to break into 45 parts because it was a large site and it was on a low tier host. So don't be scared of that piece of things. We've solved that issue. And if we encounter it again, we'll continue to resolve it. So now it took a file backup. So the next thing that it has to do, and this is a decision we make with you during the migration process, is whether or not we're going to pause the current site and complete the migration as the final cutover, or if we're just doing it like in Christy's case, if we do proceed with that exploratory test of a .com migration, we would just skip this step. I'm just trying things out. So in this case, nothing will change on this current active site. The site is still connected to your domain. The domain has not updated yet. If we did say this is the final migration, really important things have to happen. And this is the level of migration that other hosts won't understand when they're migrating your site. So hopefully we can make good notes in the comments of or the description of this video later for any other hosts that are migrating membership sites. And this is true of any e-commerce site. If you're moving to a host that has experience with WooCommerce and you're migrating a WooCommerce site, they understand what's interesting about migrating an active e-commerce site. So what will happen if we put your site in pause? It's described here. I'll zoom it in so it's a little more clear. But blocking non-admin logins, that means that we're not going to allow users to log into your site during this paused status. It's a soft maintenance mode. So the site won't go down and show that it's in maintenance mode, but it will be restricted how much can change with data in the site. And that's because we don't want to miss anything. We don't want to miss a new order coming in through the database. We don't want to miss a user logging in and changing their password or updating their profile information or changing their membership level. So a lot of things have to be restricted when we're migrating so that we don't create inconsistencies in data on both ends. So blocking non-admin logins is a preventative step so that users aren't logging in and changing things. We're going to pause any changes to the database. You don't want to go edit a post on this site or a page because it won't be reflected once we take that database back up. Preventing emails from being sent. You don't want the site to send emails and links out to things that won't actually be actions people can take. Pausing action scheduler events and WP cron. These are background task managers that allow your site to expire people, send cancellation emails, anything like that. We don't want those things running. Stop listening to the payment gateway or sending data to the payment gateway, and blocking WordPress itself or any plugins from auto updating. It does say that it puts you in a maintenance redirect traffic to our moving page. I didn't know that. I'll read more clearly next time, friends. So we'll take a look at that. I don't know that would be necessary. That's probably necessary because we can't account for every thing on your site that people could potentially use. You might have a contact form that people can submit to, and that wouldn't be. So I think it must be necessary to put that up. I don't know. But in the sites that we communicate with the site owner and do this with them on call and ready to do their database or their DNS cutover, it's kind of a few hours at max period of time to do that. So I'm not going to say skip this step because I think let's see what that looks like if I pause this site. And this is just a local site. So I'm going to do that. So now this is the database backup. So we already have all the file system. Now we're going to get the database because we know it's not going to be changed anymore because it's been paused. But we can also do this in a way that it won't pause the database. Like we said, that testing model. So if you're migrating and you perform these steps in the right pattern of things and you just want to create a backup and create a clone of your site, there's protections in Paid Memberships Pro so that the cloned version doesn't interact with any live member data or your payment gateway. So there are protections in Paid Memberships Pro to mitigate some of the things we've seen in the past, but it's still a tedious thing and a careful thing. Oh, I have to click the button. Here I am just sitting there waiting for this to happen. I'll take a new screenshot of the contents of that PMPro migrate folder so we can see what's been added there. It's working.
While that loads, Natasha's asking about just how to properly set up Paid Memberships Pro, and I'm going to drop a link to our initial setup guide for you.
Perfect. I have a lot on this development site because I probably have 100 plugins on this local site. We weren't going to migrate a complex site like this, but it isn't one that I would even migrate because it's a junk site where I just do all my coding and testing and developing. Okay, so now I'll take a picture of this version of the system. It's not much more interesting than what we had before. You'll just see there's now a, I'm going to go over time today. Okay, so now we have a database where before we didn't have that. So that's a zip of that we'll use when we get to the final step of actually like getting these files from you. Okay, and now this is the step where it's going to take that PMPro migrate folder from your site and it puts it, it sends it to Amazon S3. So a secure location. It has a handshake to our server and to S3 to validate that you have an active license with us, that this is okay to do. And then it creates like a secret key in the background, starts sending those site files to our Amazon S3. So I'm not going to do that because they don't need this site. But at that point, maybe your site's just in trial mode and it's not going to matter what you keep doing on this site. Or at this point, you did pause this site, which I did. So let's see what I bet, because I'm logged in as an admin. Didn't I pause this one? Probably because I'm logged in. Anyway, that is then our team's turn to go into S3 and spin up your DigitalOcean droplet, and then we'll do the DNS cutover, and that is a pretty quick step of the process to rebuild everything from the file system that we got. So we were on that site earlier with the Timeless Car Collective on the InstaWP version. Yesterday, me and Dale did a migration, and I can't show you now because that site isn't live, but this is the migrated version of the site. I'm not logged in, am I? This one's also, I think it's pulling those files because we didn't update the domain, so it might still be being grumpy. But this is the migrated version of that site. And then they also gave me, I'm going to pause for questions, but we went through the migration process. They also gave me an empty demo site as if we weren't migrating a site. So that's like the other hand of things. So I think we'll pause. We'll talk through some of the questions. And then I was going to show a little bit of like, what would I do once I was given an empty site to get spun up with?
Perfect. So I'm going to start with the questions in the comments. And okay. I think for now, I'm going to remove your screen for a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so for the first question, Michael wants to know, as Europeans, they're concerned about GDPR compliance. Is there any word to speak of about GDPR compliance in regards to our hosting?
So my understanding of this is because it's DigitalOcean Droplet, we can choose the region that your droplet is placed in. So we can do this completely within the EU. And there shouldn't be a GDPR concern in that case because I think what I've read before, and you probably know more than I do about this, it was more with respect to where is the information traveling and where's the information living and under what protections it is. So DigitalOcean can host sites in the EU and is itself compatible with GDPR as a hosting service. So we would just select a region that fit. We often select a region that's close to where the admin of the site is or where the admin says the majority of their traffic comes from, because there is a bonus boost to the speed and performance of your site if the data center is close to where the people accessing it are residing. So we will just choose a region within a compatible area for you. But it is something I want to read more about and understand more so that I have a good response, because I had someone early on ask that same question and I thought, oh, okay, it must be a deal breaker. And then come to find out later that, UK. Yeah. So we can choose a UK based droplet location. Jason gave me that list the other day. I wonder if I have the link.
My channel did comment and say, that's correct. I'm based in the UK and DigitalOcean in Europe is fine for GDPR.
Yeah. And then I guess
you would be in compliance.
If there's a concern of the S3 files moving, that might be the piece we have to solve for our clients and customers in the EU, that they wouldn't want the backup taken to an S3 location that wasn't also compatible. So
we have migrated the site in the UK already.
That's right.
So like that hurdle we have done. So.
Perfect.
Cool. So Paul Marshall submitted some questions in advance, but they're also in the comments. The first question that was submitted is also repeated here. So I did pull it up on the screen. Paul says, my site uses Paid Memberships Pro with Usify, BuddyPress, and SliceWP. Will PMPro Hosting fully support and optimize for those plugins after migration, especially in terms of caching and content?
Yes. So the thing I want to keep researching and make sure that they're all compatible with Object Cache, because that's the server level caching instrument. You might have heard of something called Redis, REDIS. It's open source. And it's actually funny because it is open source, and yet it's an upsell on like a plan like Kinsta that you don't get it out of the cart. You have to pay an additional $100 a month to get their object caching. So we did a little bit of tweaks to Paid Memberships Pro. I think it was version 3.5 something to be object cache compatible, because we knew that we wanted that server level of caching. So I think it's on us to do a couple tests that BuddyPress, Usify, and SliceWP are okay and operate on object cache successfully. In addition to the object cache piece, you can use a caching plugin. So if you're using like W3 Total Cache might be one you've heard of, or name whatever caching, if you have a caching plugin installed in your site, something that lives outside the server level, or even a host enforced caching plugin, like SiteGround has something called SG Optimizer. I don't know the names of the other ones. Sam might know them because you're more familiar with the documentation of things. So you can still use a page cache on top of the object cache for your site. And the page caching plugin would just have to follow the same rules that we give every site using a page caching plugin, which is to only cache not logged in user sessions. So you can't use a page cache and cache for logged in users, because they would see welcome Kim Coleman in the header of their site. So the page cache itself is going to be a layer that helps speed up the experience for not logged in users. Object cache speeds up the experience for both logged in and not logged in users. And then Cloudflare CDN exists outside of all of this to even improve things even more by having cached versions of certain types of content in the site, like images and certain like reused files in the site. So there's so many layers of caching and ways that you optimize it. But I know at the plugin level, because we had to do some object cache tweaks to PMPro, we want to double check that the plugins you're using also have compatibility. And if someone else is on here from my team and wants to correct me, I put this one in the team earlier. No one changed number 1 here. So that's good. They said good answers.
And your
and a lot of people might realize they don't even need that caching plugin on the site for the page cache, because Cloudflare is so awesome and object cache also. You might just, if you like deactivate it, delete it, and you realize no change in performance, one less plugin, one less point of failure, it's not a bad thing. So we're still using a page caching plugin in our site. We don't use anything to like minify, but we are still using a page. I wonder if we should try turning it off, Sam. Not Sam, Jason, maybe. Sam's like, I can't make that decision.
Don't ask me to make plugin decisions on our site. No, ma'am. But also another thing that comes into play is your page builder. I know Elementor is a big one for automatically. Right. I think that it's called. No, it's not endurance caching. That's Bluehost.
That's something though. That is something.
And Elementor has their own caching as well. So the page builder does add another layer of complexity.
Yes. No, for sure. Yeah. And I think that's a cool thing too. And it's something we're talking a lot about. Like when we onboard a site and we get a migrated site, we're finding decisions that were made in the plugins chosen. And we see like redundancies. We're like, oh, they have 2 plugins that do the same thing. Or they have a plugin that is actually not needed now because of server level optimization or server level configuration. So we're working on ways to kind of put a team member involved to, once the migration is complete, take a look at the site and say, are there ways we can reduce the technical complexity of this WordPress site by eliminating redundant plugins, eliminating plugins that are redundant with server settings? Again, fewer points of failure, things that you need to maintain, and unknowns for the future. So looking at ways to do that kindly, so we're not coming across like, you don't need that plugin, or just have the conversation to say like, what is the value of you having this plugin that limits login attempts when it is also a feature of core Paid Memberships Pro and a server level configuration? You don't need a limit login attempts plugin anymore, right? And then we say, okay, cool, one less plugin.
I also know there are some hosts that automatically load Jetpack plugin, and that has been notorious for conflicts as far as membership sites go. So
that's a whole conversation I could soapbox about.
Caching could be like 3 open office hours, and we would still have more to talk about.
What consumers don't realize is that WordPress hosts have relationships with plugin companies. WordPress hosts have relationships with Jetpack to pre-install Jetpack on every WordPress install. And you as the consumer are like, I guess I trusted this hosting company enough, and now they're recommending I use Jetpack. I guess I should use Jetpack. And what that's doing is boosting Jetpack's install numbers and creating a point of confusion for you where you're like, what is Jetpack? Why do I need Jetpack? Can I delete Jetpack? I have a Bluehost. I don't have any opinions about any WordPress host except WordPress.com. But I did a brand new purchase of Bluehost. I got my site and I was like bombarded with admin notices and pop-ups to upgrade my Yoast install. And I spent, I think, the first 5 or 8 minutes of that site, which is probably a small amount of time because of my WordPress experience, just cleaning it up. And I thought I was just getting like a base WordPress install. And I was getting like Bluehost's version of WordPress with their pre-installed things and themes and plugins. And it was confusing. And maybe I'm just like a Luddite. I've been in WordPress too long to like love the plain, clean install where there's like no plugins when I boot up a new local site or if I'm booting up from a template that I've created. But we will not pre-install plugins unless they are necessary to the functionality of the hosting environment or the caching environment at the server level. So yeah.
Except for PMPro, because that's required.
Oh, yes. That is required. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I think even hosting.com.
I didn't soapbox too much, right?
The hosting for my dad's website, I even think that there's plugins on that site that I can clean up and get rid of. I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I'm pretty sure there's installs that I just don't need.
And I don't think it's in general like terrible that like Jetpack has optimization, image optimization functionality. It has site security functionality built in. So there are pieces of Jetpack that probably apply to nearly every WordPress site. I know that a lot pre-install Monster Insights, which is a connector to Google Analytics. And that is a relationship they have with Automotive to have that plugin pre-installed. It's not a goodwill decision that they were like, we just really love this plugin the most and we want to install. It's like, this is business. So yeah, that's all.
I like Dale's analogy in the comments. He said, no one loves a bunch of stickers on their new laptop.
Oh, that's good. Jason was trying to come up with an analogy earlier, and I think his analogy was more complex. It wasn't for this, it was something else. But that is a spot on analogy, Dale. It's like, you're buying a new car, not a used car, right? And that's how the experience should feel. So yeah, I know that people, I was going to curse. I never curse on these. Poo-poo. Do you know what word I was going to say, everybody? Poo-poo WordPress because they think the admin is cluttered or they think the admin experience is very slow. And it's sad because that is the host's fault. Like all of that is the host's fault. We're not doing WordPress much favor by creating versions of it that create those experiences. So that's my experience. No one wants stickers on their new laptop. I don't have any stickers on my new laptop.
I don't have any stickers on my laptop. I used to buy covers and then sticker my covers. But yeah, I like to pick out my own stickers. So
yeah. Do you have bumper stickers on your car? I'm trying to remember.
No.
I don't think you do. No, you don't stickers.
I do not.
Stickers. Oh, okay.
Cool. That was for my 20s.
That was for your 20s. There you go. One day you'll have a sticker. Paid Merchants Pro. No, just kidding. Don't do that.
Okay. There are 2 other questions from Paul that were pre-submitted that are not in the comments that I just want to touch on real quick. One is in regards to performance and optimization. Does your hosting environment include specialized caching or CDN configuration for dynamic membership and community pages, or should I continue using Perf Matters and QUIC.cloud?
So our sysadmin said that we use Cloudflare CDN and also Cloudflare Web Application Firewall, WAF. All of the domains that we onboard through our Cloudflare account, we use that. You can continue, if you're already using Cloudflare and your domain is managed through Cloudflare, you can continue using that and then just update A records to point to our IP of your new server. Technical. So you will not need any other CDN. So the quick cloud would create like redundancies and probably break things with Cloudflare CDN. So we would you do those in lieu of perf matters in quick cloud. I don't know if those are paid services. The version of Cloudflare we use is free. There are premium versions of Cloudflare, but we haven't needed any of them so far. So we're still using Cloudflare CDN for free. So what we're trying to do is create like a very opinionated hosting environment that eliminates the need for most of those third-party tooling pieces that cost you extra money and are either available as open source tools that we can put in at the server level, or like actually not really doing much for your site. Like a version of this I put in my comments was WebP support. So WebP is a new image format that WordPress natively supports now. It probably has for a few years. Time goes so fast. It's probably been like 5 years of WebP support. I don't even know. But it's something that hosts upcharge so that if you need and want WebP, it's something you're going to pay for. So what that means is when you upload a JPEG or a PNG image to your WordPress media area, it can be automatically converted and served as a WebP format instead of the PNG or JPEG format, which is a huge page speed boost. So we're very soon expanding that our hosting will include WebP native support without the need for a third-party plugin or additional fees. So that will be included in the base hosting tier at the server level at no cost. Again, it's one of those features that hosts can upcharge for, even though the activity of it on the server level isn't costing them large amounts of money. In this case, it doesn't cost us anything more than you're already paying because it's your server. So if you have WebP on your server, WebP conversion on your server, it doesn't affect every other site that's on there because there's no other sites on that server. So I think that's why hosts have to upcharge for it, because that is a resource that eats up performance. And because it's all shared by many sites on one shared hosting environment, they have to move you to a place where there's fewer economies on that. So maybe everyone using WebP, there can only be 20 sites, where everywhere else there could be 150 sites sharing resources. I want to make sure I have everyone's. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Okay.
So far, I feel like I know what I'm talking about. I don't think I'm telling you all anything. I'm not like just reading the script. I promise.
Well, it was funny because we were talking earlier this week about how I feel so natural live, and then I don't feel natural when I'm recording videos for demos for documentation and everything like that. And then before we got on, you're like, I don't really know if I feel like I'm the one to talk about this, but you're doing lovely. And
thank you.
This is like how smooth I wish I could be when I record video about things
there you go.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't like, again, like we know what we're talking about. It's just like, if you are extremely intelligent about servers and server config and stuff, like I have better people for you to talk to than me. That's the point. So we can put you in touch with them.
And they will nerd out with you for hours.
Ooh.
Okay, so the last question from Paul about scalability and support. When my site grows and members become more active with uploads and posts, how does PMPro Hosting scale? And does your support team assist with plugin level performance issues or only server level ones?
So because it is a DigitalOcean droplet, we have the ability to add on storage. We have the ability to upsize and increase the memory on the server. We have the ability to increase the CPUs on the server. So I think the base configuration was the 2 CPUs. I think we have an 8 CPU server for PMPro, maybe 12. I don't know. So those will be conversations where either we're monitoring performance of these sites remotely. We're monitoring like disk space available because you can't reach 100% disk space or 90%. You need some availability for like all kinds of weird stuff. So we're going to monitor available disk space. We're going to monitor like spikes in CPU usage. We're going to monitor if like things are crashing and like memory usage and where that's becoming like rough. But I think also it'll be a relationship because it's as high touch as our our technical support is for Paid Memberships Pro. We want our hosting to be that high touch as well. So that's a conversation where you say, I tried to get on my site and it took me I felt like it took longer to get logged in, or I felt like it took longer to save a post, or I'm thinking of adding, we had this recently, someone on our hosting was like, I'm thinking of adding WooCommerce to my membership site because I want to sell physical products in this way. And that's a conversation we can have to say, like, that's a new large platform to add to this hosting environment. You might notice that you want to bump up some of these components of things to accommodate it. So it's easy to scale because DigitalOcean makes it easy for us to throw more resource into your droplet and to upsize that droplet. And then Jason said the same thing. He said, you might realize you can scale it back. We do want this to be the base tier that we offer, but if you up it and you're like, I don't really need this anymore, then we can scale you back as well. So it goes both ways. Hopefully you're always scaling up because the site's just getting more traffic, more users, and more going on at the same time. So yeah, as far as plugin related performance issues, that's a tough one for us to say we can support. But we do have relationships with lots of plugin owners and the developers at plugin companies. So we, just like our paid support assists with things outside of what Paid Memberships Pro's issues are, the hosting as well can identify where is the bottleneck, what is the clog here, what's timing out, and then we can work with those plugin companies, or at least with you, to say, like, maybe evaluate if this is the tool you need for this. Is this still necessary? Yes. Are there hooks and filters we can identify that can scale back this process that wants to run in your community plugin every hour? Can we scale it back to every 6 hours and things like that? So we do a lot of plugin conflict work and support. So I think it will be natural that we're going to see performance issues in other plugins, even Paid Memberships Pro. What's been interesting in doing this hosting work is that we've noticed places to improve the performance of Paid Memberships Pro itself. So it's cool that we use our plugin and we're able to see those things and say, like, oh, this is running a lot of queries, or this has a duplicate query. Let's reduce that. So Abby said, what?
Sorry, Abby got really angry.
Yeah, easy to scale, easy to upsize, and it's going to be a conversation and a relationship. I don't think we'll ever have, we're not going to become a WP engine. I said we're not aiming to become Cloudways. So it's a personal relationship, this hosting, just as personal as of us when we are supporting your membership sites. So conversation. I did say I wanted to talk about the admin experience because this can't be discounted to the work that you all are doing in building membership sites, because there's nothing more demotivating than having an extremely slow admin experience of your site. And caching can do some, the object cache can do some things here. I think maybe it can't, but that is your unique experience logging in, creating content, updating pages on your site. And when that is slow or timing out, or just taking 5 minutes to save a page or post, I had someone talking to me and they were like, it's taking a long time to save a page on the site. That was one of the hugest things that early hosting customers noticed, was the speeds of their admins was crazy faster. And that's all related to those server resources being just dedicated to you. So when the host that has many sites shared across a server, they're optimizing for a front-end user experience, and they're ignoring the performance for you as an admin. Not ignoring it, but they're not dedicating time to improving that, because it's it has lower gains, I guess. You're one person and you cope with it and you deal with it. But we've noticed extremely fast hosting. I know Sam even noticed when we switched our own, we had a legacy server, then we moved to this hosting droplet model setup, and our admins got faster too. We were like, oh my gosh, So we're continuing to tweak things in Paid Memberships Pro to make the admin experience faster. But I think people who come on and realize how awesome it can be to create content, you're going to create more content. You're going to play in your WordPress site admin more. You're going to look at reports on members more, and you'll be happy and saving time doing it, which is everyone's most precious resource, is our time.
Yeah, I think with the admin stuff and the time that is saved there, it really helps that we also use Paid Memberships Pro, because it's not just us at this team looking and going, oh, how does this plugin work from an outside view? We're actively using it. And so people Ansi, myself, Kim White, the people who are in the admin on a daily basis can go to the hosting team or Jason and Kim and be like, man, this is like really dragging. And we dig into the problems, hopefully before our customers even see the problems, because we're in it as well.
No, for sure.
Jerry has a really great question. One thing I like with a major hosting service is that if my site goes down, I can call an 800 support number and talk with a live support agent to get me fixed back up. Will we have something like that?
There's no current plans to have a phone number, but I think it probably has to happen. But the remote server monitoring that is happening, like we'll see that you won't have to report it to us. Like we'll know that the site is down. And then we have built already some automations to send that information back into our Slack space when there are issues at the server level, when we realize that the site is offline, to report it back to us. So that, I mean, I'd love it if we could. We don't have weekend staff yet, but it's coming, and all those pieces will be here. So I think that's a wait and see,
And
or
it won't be
trust
me.
us. It won't be you. We won't make you work weekends. Yeah, that's a rough one. We don't yet have a plan to offer 24/7 phone support on our site. We have a phone number on our site. You can call Sam, or don't. Did I just create a problem for you by saying that?
You just jinxed it.
Every time we say that it exists, it's like the boogeyman. No.
It's funny because like it is most of the time, and then as soon as we talk about it, I promise you, the rest of the day and tomorrow, I will get phone calls and text messages.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fun. I really do enjoy talking to the people who are trying to figure out if PMPro is right for them and everything.
Yes.
We do not offer support via that phone number, but you can talk to me about whether or not we are the right solution for what you're trying to build.
Yeah. So Jason would be best to speak to this, but with respect to like my site went down, your host can prevent issues at the server level, but the majority of times that your site goes down is going to be related to something inside your site that's breaking, which it's not, no one's saying like, oh, we didn't do it, it's not your fault. But you'll see uptime talked about a lot as a benefit of certain hosts. They'll say, we have 99.9999% uptime. And that'll be asterisked by the fact that of the server infrastructure, like was our server able to serve your website? Yes. And that's been the case for us as well. But the outages that membership sites experience are white screens of death, plugin updates, fatal errors that block things on the site. And that's all just the issues with something inside the site. That's the support relationship. That's knowing, what did I just do in my site that could have caused this issue? And when people say my site went down, I'm like, what'd you do? They're like, I updated 20 plugins in bulk. I'm like, okay, one of these plugins has something nasty in it. What's going on? So if that or I'm trying to like pull back the curtain on things that hosts promise, and promises that we're not going to put front and center are an uptime guarantee, but our uptime is the strength of like DigitalOcean's uptime. So if you are on these droplets and your site goes down, you can check DigitalOcean or droplets running in your region. And if there's issues there, that's something we go to DigitalOcean to get information from. If it's the result of some code failure in your site, you come to our support team, and then we locate that error in error logs and we try to figure out how to undo it and get you back operational. So I don't know how, it'd be interesting to hear how hosts have mitigated like those plugin related conflicts. Are they like deactivating plugins? Are they like logging in and fixing the code that's breaking things for you? Yeah, it's all like new territory for us to all figure out and explore together. So, yeah.
I agree. Jerry's next question is, can we have a mirror/staging site as well as a primary site?
So it's on our minds to make the ability to have a secondary site that's not your main site, but it will never be, we have strong opinions. We have strong opinions about a lot of things, don't I? I'm really a nice person, I promise. But a lot of people look at staging sites as an ability to like work on something and then push it live, work on something, then push it live. And that is not the version of staging we'll ever offer. We'll offer a point in time clone. and it will pause PMPro services. It won't interact with live member data. It will scramble and anonymize member information, which is the only safe way to create a staging site when you have people logging into things and a gateway connector and all those things. So our version of staging sites will be the ability to create a clone that, like you said, a mirror that from a point in time, and then incubate and work and play in a safe way. We have a lot of articles on staging. We can put those in the comments of this video when Christy edits the description as well, because it is a piece of this. And I know people want staging sites because they want to be able to like test a new plugin. They want to be able to like tweak the homepage design and then see, do they like this? Do I like this? I often do things live on our site, and then people say, Kim, we got that WordPress is experiencing an error. And I'm like, oops, I was editing files. So interesting stuff. Oh, that's my favorite. Look what Paul wrote. Yeah. Turn everything off and on again is like something
it's the number one check
avoid at all costs. Yeah. And that's like, I get it why hosts would say things like, oh, my site's running really slow. Like, I don't understand. And they're like, oh, we've identified the problem. It's Paid Memberships Pro. What should I do? You should deactivate and delete that plugin. And you're talking to someone who like is making 10 grand a month on a membership site. And they're like, I'm not going to deactivate and delete Paid Memberships Pro. Like, there's no sensitivity to the way that support is handled sometimes through hosts that don't understand how pivotal certain plugins in your site are. And don't understand that, yes, it is a heavy resource on your site because of all the things that it's doing, the way that it's protecting content in your site and your inability to do page cache and all those kinds of things. So yeah, turn it all off and on again is a common lazy, I think, reply to why something is going on. I like the more forensic approach, which is like right before this happened, immediately before, what did you do? And if we can get that information, then we can draw a timeline of events that led to where we are and understand better where the issues happen. So yeah, that's good. We went a little over, but not terribly.
Did you want to show like a new?
I thought I would have time to like show you all what I do when I install a new WordPress site, but I do have a demo video like that.
We do have a blog post of like, I think it's like 13 things you do with the new WordPress site.
You can bring my screen up. I guess I'll just show what isn't in your admin. What isn't here? So this was a new hosting environment that the team spun up for me. If you do not have an existing membership site that you're migrating and you want to start one, you can use our hosting. It includes the Plus membership. So just take that. If you're paying $100 a month, the cost of Plus annually is $597. So shave $50 off that. And now tell yourself, I'm paying $50 a month for hosting and $50 a month for Paid Memberships Pro platform, unlimited access to their technical support team, and all of the add-ons, all the code recipes, all the benefits of Plus. So you might be comparing PMPro Plus hosting to Hostinger or WP Engine or Pressable, and they're all like $35 a month plans. Hostinger is way cheaper, I think. Kinsta, you're comparing it to like a $35 a month plan, and you're like, oh, but that doesn't include your license for Paid Memberships Pro and the technical support we provide. It doesn't include Redis object caching, WebP support, which we are building out. So there is like a larger total cost to hosting that isn't accounted for, or any third-party plugins that you're purchasing. So this is somebody who said, I don't know if I like Paid Memberships Pro or not, but I trust you, and I'm going to start my entire WordPress empire with you. So the only plugins that come pre-installed and pre-configured for you are Paid Memberships Pro's core plugin, Update Manager, which if you're not already installed, Update Manager is a protective plugin that makes sure that if PMPro itself ever becomes deactivated, you can still update Paid Memberships Pro from the official licensing servers or our add-ons, themes, and then also files from our translation server. So when we left WordPress.org as a plugin, Update Manager became a necessary piece that would allow people to maybe temporarily have to deactivate Paid Memberships Pro. Who knows why? But you still want to update the Add PayPal Express add-on, or you want to install, the MailChimp add-on, which works without Paid Memberships Pro. Update Manager is that secondary path to be able to do that. And then there is a must-use plugin, which is a hosting plugin, and it has tooling for our team to do things and keep the WordPress stuff being connected to it. and the performance of the site. And then these two are here temporarily, but are slated to become native in the hosting environment itself. So this Redis object cache is a plugin currently, and that will move outside of the plugin area of the WordPress site and just exist as a drop-in file on the server. And then the CLI commands are helping our team as they're getting started. I don't know if anyone here uses WP CLI. I don't. It's a way to connect to and run things on the WordPress site, like plugin updates, plugin installs through CLI commands, which are Terminal, if you use Terminal or another system like that to enter into your WordPress site server and run little commands. And I don't do it much, but it was needed by the hosting people to get this up and running. So that's all it'll be, and you'll have your license key already pre-installed for you. And then the first step it'll take you to is just the beginning of setting up the WordPress site. So there's a lot to building out a membership site in WordPress. So I think more people will be migration people because they already have seen that the host they're at right now can't keep up with the performance they need for their membership site. But eventually, I think people will come on as like brand new site setups and never have had that negative experience of cluttered admins, pre-installed weird plugins for their WordPress installs. And they'll get an experience of what WordPress was meant to be, not what versions of it hosts have created for us. So yeah, there's nothing here. Empty site.
Sorry, Abby's barking. Maintenance is around the building today.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we'll give people a few more minutes to ask some questions. Oh my goodness, so noisy.
Do you bring up the live page?
Yes. Can you bring up the live page, please? We'll talk about what's happening.
Screen away. Here it is. Okay.
There
cool.
you go.
This is today. Okay.
That's today. Okay. So next up, we have a community co-working hour. I actually don't think Emily's here today, but Emily does not like me talking about this because she wants it to be for herself. This is a great time to come work.
I thought you meant Emily on our team. You mean Emily in community?
Well,
I got you.
Emily in community. Yeah.
Yes.
I think maintenance is knocking on my door right now.
Do you want to go? I'll finish up. Go ahead.
Okay, you finish. I'll be in the background, but I will. I'll let you give the rundown.
Sure. So if you go to PMPro.com/live, you can see this calendar yourself. You can add it to your own Google Calendar, so you get those versions of notifications of things. So next week, Tuesday, is that community event, and then we're running a Coding with Sam on Friday of next week. If you haven't attended yet, that is an opportunity for people who don't have experience with coding. Watch Sam code something in Sam's demo site. And Sam is not a coder. Sam's our sales and marketing manager. So the goal is to get you more comfortable safely modifying functionality in your WordPress site with code recipes that are easy to edit or require no edits at all. We have a huge library of recipes on our site for tweaking things. Then there's another community co-working hour that week. And then we have open office hours where Sam's going to be showing many, many ways to restrict access to things in your WordPress site. We have a blog post. I think there's 28 ways, 27. Sam will correct me in a moment. She'll come back with throwing her hands up of how many that is. But from everything from posts, pages, categories, tags, courses, sections, blocks, file downloads, videos, everything that you can think that you need to protect, events that's on the list here, community access, posting, creating blog posts in your site, all kinds of things. We'll try to get through as many as we can to demonstrate how you use PMPro membership functionality to choose who can access content in your WordPress site. Anything. Actually,
28
anything.
ways.
28. I said 27. Thank you for another Coding with Sam. A week off.
Had me in my ear. Maintenance is actually in my apartment, but they're fixing the light bulb in the toilet. But I had you in my ear, and I was like, how many? 28 ways, and we'll see how many I can get through in 1 hour.
Yeah. And then, we talked about restricting access. We're going to do using the block editor.
That's going to
Me
be
and Sam use the block editor, and we don't use really any other page builders. But we know Elementor is the most used page builder in our customer base in WordPress overall. But WordPress itself has a native page builder. You might have heard the word Gutenberg or the block editor. Love it, hate it. We don't love it. We use it. I'm not sure. I'm like, I love the block editor.
I
But
don't
I know
think I
people
love
who,
anything, to be honest.
yeah, I wouldn't like say I love software. I love Paid Memberships Pro.
I'm most familiar with the block editor.
I'm most familiar with. Yeah. So just kind of getting people more comfortable if they are at a place where they don't have a preferred page builder, maybe the WordPress block editor is the native solution that won't add any additional complexity to your site and has the tools you need to build beautiful layouts. So that's cool. And then we also have an event coming up with the people at Kit, who are an email marketing platform. They were formerly called ConvertKit, if you know them by that name instead. And they're going to talk through how we use Kit a little bit and other ways and tools that Kit offers to support email marketing as a component of your membership site.
And that one will not be on our YouTube channel. So
Okay.
I would definitely watch out on the live page, your email, the Slack community, various ways to get event details as to how to tune into that. If you use Kit and you want to know more about how Paid Memberships Pro as a company uses Kit, not so much the integration with our plugin and Kit, but it will be kind of like a behind the scenes of the emails that you receive from us. So that will be
and we send so many of them.
I know.
Me too. It's okay.
Christy should be the one that talks to Kit on the live.
Christy should be the one. No, you already had onboarded them enough. They're expecting you.
They are expecting.
They're expecting you.
But I think I can add Christy if she's interested.
That's cool.
Thank you, everybody. Hopefully, if you have more questions about
Mike got this mug for us.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers mug. Yeah. Yeah. Please reach out. I think it's scary to think about migrating hosts for sure. Even if you're like, you don't have to be overly joyed with your current host, but it's hard to change things that are already working when you have so many things in your site that probably aren't working. So yeah, reach out if you want to see and give it a test drive. Reach out if you have more questions that I couldn't respond to properly today, because I'd be happy to talk more about it. But yeah, you'll be hearing more about this as we, especially in the start of next year. I think it's like a large effort to get this ramped up, and it takes a lot of current team members, new team members are getting all ready for this. So we'll see what the future holds.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Stay tuned for a video by Kim Coleman.
I hope you got some value out of what you just watched. If you're serious about building a profitable membership site, the fastest way to launch or scale is with a premium plan at paidmembershipspro.com. We've made it as affordable as possible to get started, and most people who upgrade stick with us for years. Why? Because they're making money, and we keep delivering expert support, premium add-ons, and a private community of over 1,000 creators building businesses just like yours. Click the link to compare plans or keep learning. We'll see you in the next video.